Today we're in the solar shed and we're going to swap out my Battleborn batteries for a BYD used lithium iron phosphate battery pack. So check this out. The reason I'm doing this is it is extremely cheap for lithium iron phosphate. Currently we have 4 Battleborn batteries in parallel in series, and this costs like $3,600 to $4,000 depending on where you get them and the taxes included. So this battery pack has more capacity and it's only $850, and it comes with a BMS and a circuit breaker and a voltage readout monitor on the front. So I am really hoping that this does well. So I'm just going to connect it to the main system, positive wire and negative wire, and see how well it runs, if it can actually stand the loads and push a lot with this system, because this is a pretty big system. So this will be really interesting to see what happens. And this battery is also on wheels. This thing weighs a lot, okay? They had to crate ship it with a freight delivery service. And this is the Battleborn battery we did the teardown with. So I slapped some duct tape on it, and it's been working for a couple months now. Now we have the main positive and the main negative disconnected. Look at that, you guys. That looks so good. I like this case. This is so nice. And the wheels have locks, so when you put it in a good position, you can lock it. We have an 8S lithium iron phosphate BMS, and it's rated for 130 amps, which is really smart. They like to derate their stuff. And then we have a large circuit breaker. We have a little beeper over here that connects to the BMS. And then we have the voltage monitor. And on this side, we have an Anderson connector that's rated for 175 amps. So everything inside looks really nice. I'm actually pretty impressed by these guys. It's pretty good. Fast forward 2 nights later and the battery is fully charged, and I topped it up with the power supply and the current has dropped to 0. So we can finally do an accurate capacity test. Now we're going to add a heat gun. So the circuit breaker on here can handle 63 amps. So let's crank this to 40 amps. And if this is a 5 kilowatt hour pack, a 1000 watt load is perfect, and we're pushing 850 to 1000 watts. So this is perfect load for this test. The variability on that heat gun was getting pretty horrible, so now I have a resistive load and we're pulling exactly 930 watts. Guys, I want to go to bed. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning and I feel like I'm going to pass out. But I need to know the results. I want to find that number so bad. The voltage is dropping very quickly, so it should be done maybe in like 10 more minutes. The low voltage alarm will stay on even if the BMS is disconnected because it's connected at B negative. So we have a lot to talk about. There is actually some battery drama behind this test. So I got 3.76 kilowatt hours. And another YouTuber called David Pose, he has his own channel similar to mine. Really cool stuff if you want to check it out. He got 3.05 kilowatt hours for his BYD packs. And then my 4 members are reporting around 3 kilowatt hours. And then the DIY Powerwall group on Facebook, that's 30,000 people strong. A lot of people are saying 3 to 4 kilowatt hours for their packs. So I'm like, okay, what is going on here? So I talked to both Battery Hookup with Tom, and I also talked to the CEO of Big Battery, and I actually figured out exactly what's going on here. I found out that most of the people that were reporting their capacity tests bought it from Battery Hookup. And I asked Tom, I was like, are you doing capacity tests on these? And he said that with the first batch he did, but then I asked more about how he's testing them. And he said that he did it at a very low C rate with active cell balancers. So he took a 180 watt load and applied it to a fully charged BYD pack. And with active cell balancers, he was getting 4 to 4.5. And then he also said that after you cycle it multiple times, it will like wake it up. But I couldn't find any evidence to substantiate this. A lot of other people in the forum and also the Facebook group were saying this, but I don't think that's necessarily true because I have absolutely no evidence from any battery studying saying that you should wake these batteries up, like slowly charging them and then cycling them multiple times to warm them up. They don't work that way. You should be able to just fire them right up and get full capacity. I think the reason people are getting more capacity the more times they cycle them is because the pack is getting balanced, and because these packs were heavily cycled, and lots of people are reporting with their Batrium data logging that some of the cells are a lot lower in capacity than the other ones, and that would help increase capacity. But I don't think you're actually increasing capacity for the reason that they're saying of waking them up. I even saw David, when he first got his battery pack, he was like, I'm going to charge it a slow current, and I was like, why? I understand if you're taking like a cell from zero. I used to do this with lithium polymer batteries. You charge it very slowly, and there's a possibility that you can reap some of the capacity without too much damage, but typically the battery is toast. If you do a deep discharge with most lithium-ion chemistries, they're going to be fried. And so Tom tested the first batch, but after he ran out of stock, he actually approached and told Big Battery, hey, can I sell some of your BYD packs instead? And so what happened is Tom thought that they were capacity testing them, but they weren't. And so he was wholesale buying them from Big Battery and then just shipping them straight out. And I understand their logic. You know, they're all from the same installation. If you capacity test a whole bunch of them, you're like, yeah, they'll probably be fine. But that's not the case. And there are some packs with bad cells that are getting like 2.5 or even 2 kilowatt hours. Tom, though, said that if anybody complains and they say, hey, I am not getting full capacity, he will return it and pay for full shipping. And it's a pain in the butt to ship it back, but if you guys capacity test your pack and it's not pulling full capacity from the battery hookup as your distributor, then you can return it. And then I talked to Big Battery. They are pretty impressive. They capacity test everything, and they have multiple methods of testing. And the pack I got was from them. But just like the Nissan Leaf pack that I got from them, the listing capacity was not accurate. They said 4 to 4.5, and I got 3.76. We can round that up to 3.8. But I personally think that that's not okay. So I called them instantly and emailed them. I was like, you guys got to change that right now. That's not okay. And so they changed it to 3.5 kilowatt hours so that they can over deliver, because most of the packs that they capacity test should be around 4 no matter what. But I felt a little deceived, and I'm pissed off at everyone right now because they should always capacity test every used cell. If you have a new one and it's manufactured and matched at the factory and you have a data sheet, you could say, here's the capacity, here's internal resistance, let's put these together in a pack and then sell it to someone. Or like Battleborn, you get the cells and then you capacity test each pack. That's okay, that's what you're supposed to be doing. But when you get a bunch of batteries and you just ship them out because you think that they're the same because it's all the same installation that you are taking used packs from, that's not okay. So now I want all of my viewers to capacity test every pack that you ever buy, whether it's new or used. We need to hold the companies accountable. And I really like Tom, and I like his BMS, and he's a really nice guy. But this is like not acceptable in my opinion. And I actually think Big Battery is one step ahead of the game because they actually have certifications and certain requirements for testing. They do not sell used batteries, they sell recertified batteries. They actually test them and throw out the bad ones. So there's a very big difference here with the used cell distributors. I thought everybody was capacity testing, and I saw, you know, all the pictures of the equipment they had, and I was like, yeah, this is great, this is fine. And most people don't complain. Most people are going to get, you know, 3.5 to 4 kilowatt hours, and they're like, you know what, I got a good deal. I don't need to say anything. Tom's a nice guy. Everything's good. But that's not acceptable. You're ripping people off for 1,000 watt hours. Even Big Battery did it, and even with the pack that I tested, it said on the ad 4 to 4.5. I got 3.7. That is not okay. I like how Big Battery and Tom instantly were like, all right, we're changing this, fixing it. If anyone complains, we're returning it instantly. So I like that, but I want you guys to see what I'm seeing and the little fiasco that they had to deal with. But if any of my viewers bought a battery through my links and you do not pull full capacity, you need to return it instantly. And I urge everybody to have either a shunt on their system or buy a battery capacity checker, because you never know. And this is same with new batteries. If you buy a Battleborn, you do not have to worry. And I'm not even trying to sell them. It's just that whenever people buy that thing, I don't have to worry about it. I never hear any complaints. The less complaints I hear, the more I want to sell that product. Because at the end of the day, I don't want to have 100 emails of people saying, Will, I got 0.1 kilowatt hours less than what you said in your video. I'm like, that sucks. That's not okay. I want people to over deliver always with batteries. So yeah, I'm just like heated because I spent the whole morning on the phone with these guys and messaging these guys, And they are nice guys, and they are smart, and they have the equipment. And I think Big Battery actually has something awesome with these packs being capacity tested and then with the BMS. But I don't understand why I got 3.7 and the ad said 4. You know, it should be over-delivering. So now they actually changed all of them. Both websites are updated, and now I'm going to post this video because I'm not going to post these videos until they are accurately advertising this stuff. I cannot link to it because these guys are like the biggest distributors of these packs and nobody else is doing it, and they are a very good deal. Even if I got like 2 kilowatt hours for $800, I would still buy that. So it's an amazing deal still, but they need to advertise it properly. And they have to test it every time. So I do not like that. It's easy to get lazy with battery packs if you have like 1 million of them and you test 1,000 of them and they all have the same number. You have to test all of them for second life storage, in my opinion. Especially used packs, you have to capacity test them always. Oh boy, that was a lot. Okay, let me look at my list to see if I forgot anything. Oh yeah, another thing. What if I spent $4 grand and I was missing 25% of the capacity? I would be pissed off. So yeah, if you guys are pissed off too right now and you spent money, you need to get that returned. Also, active balancers will help if you do a very low C rate test on a massive pack, but we talked about this previously. We connected 260 amp hour and 100 amp hours, and we got like 2 to 5 amp hours increase, and that was at a very low C rate. So for most real world applications, if you do not have a massive battery bank, active cell balancers will not help. An active cell balancer would help for BYD packs when you first get them, because those cells are totally out of balance. So that could actually help a lot for some of you. Also, I calculated I got 3.76 kilowatt hours, and the original pack size was 5.6 kilowatt hours. So we got 67% of the rated capacity. So for a lithium iron phosphate, there's not much data at that low of a capacity. These cells have been cycled like crazy. Even though it was a large installation, they must have been pushing some serious C rates. I don't even know what they were doing with it. Most of these were manufactured in 2012, and supposedly the installation was a 90 megawatt hour pack, which is, I can't even imagine that. And the fact that these were manufactured in 2012 and they were cycled so hard that they're at 67% capacity, there must have been a thermal management issue. So that's crazy. For solar, we don't have to worry about that, but for whatever they were using these for, that is substantial degradation. Okay, for lithium iron phosphate, that's crazy. You should be able to get multiple decades if you keep it below 0.4 C for charging and like 1 C for discharge. But that's a lot, guys. That's crazy. And this leads me to the next point of no matter what battery you buy, all of these batteries are bought elsewhere, whether they're new or whether they're used. Whether you're making your own battery pack with new cells like a Battleborn, those cells are coming from somewhere and they need to be capacity tested. Most of these issues would not be around if every battery manufacturer actually did a quick capacity test. So it's a bummer how many problems we find with this equipment. It's nuts. But I think they're starting to figure it out. I mean, especially these videos have really incentivized these manufacturers to make good stuff. These batteries are very different because they're used, and a lot of people are just taking for face value those numbers, those capacity ratings, and they think that that's the truth. And it's not technically the truth. You have to do your own capacity test, especially for used cells, guys. You have to. Anyways, I still think it's actually a great option. At that price, you cannot beat it. And Big Battery has a checklist of all the things that they test, and then they do 3 capacity test cycles. And so I think that they're probably the best bet if you want to buy a BYD. And now it's accurately advertised. I was mad at them, but they fixed it quick, and Tom's really nice too, and he fixes his stuff quick. He also has some BMSs coming in stock, and I love those. Those things are super great. So I think these companies are great, and I'm not trying to badmouth on anyone, but they did make a mistake with how they advertise the capacity. And I think going on, and with all my viewers now knowing this, I think everyone's gonna do capacity tests, and they're gonna be like, this battery is not perfect, I'm sending this back. Even with used, there's a threshold, and you'll say, okay, if this battery only have 50% capacity, you should throw it in the trash. All right, personally, anything under the 65 you should throw in the trash. I think 80% is perfect. All of my cheap batteries that I bought off of eBay for fun, for just random testing purposes like the Sino Polys, those ones were at 80% and they were like $200 or $300. And all of the valances typically test at 80%. And some of the BYD packs actually test really high. Some are even 4.5 kilowatt hours. Some people posted their results. So it's kind of a little bit of luck, and I don't like that. You know, there should be a threshold. You should say everything under here you throw out. Something else to consider is if weight matters, the specific energy for heavily degraded battery packs is pretty bad, because you have a battery pack that weighs the same amount as a 5.4 or 5.6 kilowatt hour pack. And guess what? You only get 3.7. So the specific energy is pretty bad overall. So you have a heavy pack. Like if you have an RV or something and you want BYD packs, I wouldn't do that. Also, I want you guys to think about used versus new. We have all these used packs and they're at a great deal, but new battery packs with matched cells from the manufacturer with a cheap BMS with low temp cutoff is pretty cheap. You can throw your own pack together. So I want you guys to consider all options here. These ones are pretty cool because it's just a big old beefy pack and you just throw it in your RV or something. And it is pretty cheap. But brand new Fortune cells, which I love now, and I bought $1,200 with my own money down here because I like them and I don't want my other viewers to get them before they're out of stock. If you can get those cells, you have a brand new cell that can last 3,000 cycles, and when cycled for solar, 5,000 to 10,000 cycles. And who knows how long a 67% rated capacity pack will last for. I have no data on that. For new cells, I do have data, and I can tell you what will work long term, and you'll be happy. So I don't know, lots of things to consider. Personally, I'm still building with Fortune packs. That's what I'm gonna do in my shed. It's gonna be amazing. But yeah, we have lots of options. Also, Fortune cells are not as beginner friendly as this BYD pack because it has a circuit breaker, Anderson connector, and then you just have the BMS and you just drop it in there and connect it in 10 minutes. So if you're a beginner, maybe this is a better option. So yeah, lots of things to compare. I mean, it's getting crazy now because we have so many options on the market. I hope you guys like this video. I had to ramble a lot, but yeah. Battleborn is still 4.8 kilowatt hours. This is 3.7. We're not getting 5, okay? I might be able to cycle it and do an active cell balancer and go to low C rate and push those numbers. Or, you know, get the pack really hot with the active cell balancer at like 100 watts. I bet I could get like 4.2 kilowatt hours or something with that. But yeah, I hope you guys like this video. I'll talk to you later. Bye.